Hello everybody, my name is Jay. I'm one of the expert PTE teachers here at E2 Language, which is the coolest, best place in the world. Or it's a website where you can prepare for your PTE. Okay, in this class, we're going to look at how to get a high PTE reading score. What we're going to do specifically is I'm going to give you a quick overview of the reading section, just very quickly take you through the different tasks that you'll see on test day. Then we're going to meet Alex, who is a vocabulary expert, and she's going to talk to you about how you can build your vocabulary, which will be very helpful. Then we'll talk about how to improve your reading strategies, which is also important. And finally, we'll talk about time management. So before we begin though, if you're not yet a subscriber to this wonderful YouTube channel, click that subscribe button. That would be fabulous. Okay, let's have a quick look at the reading section of this test. So this is called reading and writing fill in the blanks. This is the first task that you'll see in this section of the test. And as you can see, it's quite a long text and you have drop-down answer options. Each of those drop-downs has 4 answer options. You have to choose one. This is testing your word choice. It's very much a vocabulary-driven task. The second task is called multiple choice, multiple answers, and it looks like this. And you'll see a text up to 300 words. You'll see answer options, and you can select more than one answer option. More than one answer option will always be correct, but this is a pretty straightforward multiple choice type of question. This one's called reorder paragraph. You'll get a paragraph on the left-hand side that will be in the incorrect sequence, and you have to reorder it on the right-hand side. Pretty straightforward. This is testing for coherence and cohesion, which we'll talk about later on. This one's called fill in the blanks. You'd have to drag and drop a word into the gap to make a natural sounding phrase. This one's testing vocabulary, but more specifically, it's testing collocation, which we'll talk about later on as well. And this is multiple choice, choose single answer, very straightforward, multiple choice question where you choose one answer option. Cool. Okay, now I want to introduce you to Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Jay.
Alex is going to tell us about vocabulary, which is so critical for a high PTE reading score. So we're going to look at 3 questions. Why do I need to build my vocabulary? What vocabulary should I learn? And how can I learn vocabulary? So let's look at the first one here. Why do I need to build vocabulary? Alex, can you explain this graph, please?
Well, if you want to answer questions about a text, you really need to understand what you're reading. You don't need to understand 100% of the vocabulary, but you actually need to understand quite a lot of it. Experts say between 95 to 98%.
Okay, for every 100 words that I'm reading of a text, I need to understand 95 to 98 of those words.
Yeah, to have a really good understanding of what you're reading.
Okay, that's interesting because in the PT, some of the tasks are quite short. They might only be 300 words. That means I can only not know about 10 or 12 words.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
So obviously the more vocab you know, the better your comprehension and the better your communication as well.
Yeah, cool. Understood. Cool. Okay, great. So I definitely need to build my vocabulary. What vocabulary though? Because vocabulary is complicated. Which vocabulary should I learn, Alex?
Well, if you analyze the reading texts from PTE or any test really, any English test, you'll find a breakdown like this. So a big proportion, about 80%, actually comes from the first 2,000 words of English, the 2,000 most common words in English. And you probably know all of them anyway.
Right.
They're basic words like the, good, bad, spend, idea.
Yep, so high frequency words.
Yeah,
okay.
So they make up the majority of every, even academic text.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so they make up the bulk of it. Okay, and what's this academic word list?
So this is a list of about 570 words that appear often in academic texts. So exactly the kind of text you're going to get in PTE. And again, these are fairly common words, things like research, theory, initial, acquire, valid. And knowing this list will help you get an extra, say, 5.5% of the text.
Okay, cool. And what about this other portion of the pie here?
So then there's everything else. So that's basically everything that's not on the academic word list and not in the first 2,000 words. But we tend to talk about these as technical or topic specific vocabulary. So if you were reading something about animals, you would see words like habitat, predators,
Okay.
livestock,
Okay.
foraging.
Okay, so these are uncommon or infrequent words, sort of technical words.
Yeah.
Because in PTE as well, you might get a little reading passage on crystallography or exactly, some sort of habitat thing.
Yeah. And you can
example.
afford not to know some of those words,
Yeah.
but it's worth your while spending some time building vocab around specific topics, so around animals, around agriculture, around space. The more that you build it, then the less chance you're going to have of encountering a text where you only know 50% of the words.
Gotcha. Yes, that would be not a good thing. Okay, so it's a mixture of the first 2,000 words, the high frequency words, the academic words, and then the technical words there. So that's going to make up your reading texts or the vocabulary that you should focus on. Cool. Okay, so how can I learn vocabulary? What is deliberate versus incidental vocabulary learning?
Yeah. How do you learn vocabulary? This is the big question.
Yeah.
It's a combination of different things, but you can group it mainly into deliberate and incidental. So deliberate is when you are trying to learn vocabulary.
Like consciously.
Exactly. So
Okay.
you might be writing it down, looking it up in the dictionary, recording yourself saying it, listening to the pronunciation, making an example. The focus of what you're doing is to learn vocabulary.
Right.
That's one part of it.
Yeah.
Second thing is incidental. This is like accidental, that you just have to bump into the word a lot. So you can't just see a word once, like get a list of vocab, read it once, pop it away.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah.
You've got to get out there and see it, hear it, use it as well.
Okay. Do you have a little methodology by any
I'm
chance?
so glad you asked.
You do? All right, cool. What is grow your vocabulary?
Well, this is a system that we use across our courses, and it basically stands for 4 things. G stands for gather. So you've got to gather information about the word first of all. What does it mean? What's
Okay.
the translation in your language? How do you say it?
In context, in specific contexts, it might mean different things.
Yes.
Okay.
So make a list, make your own list, make flashcards, whatever it is, put it into your phone.
Yep.
Gather information.
Okay.
R is review.
Yeah.
Review,
Yeah.
and then review.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Or else we forget, right?
Yeah. So
Just-
that's why flashcards are
Okay.
a pretty cool
Yeah.
thing.
Nice.
O is for own it. So you've got to also then force yourself to use it. Write it in
Yeah.
a sentence. Say it out loud. If you're, particularly if you're preparing for a test, you're never going to accidentally say that word and you've never said it before or accidentally write the word. So take ownership of it. Move it from passive knowledge to active knowledge.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And W
Means?
stands for wander around. So don't just look at your textbook. Don't just use your academic word list.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Yeah.
Use Google. Read something.
Yeah. Go to the
listen to
zoo,
a
for
podcast. Go to
example.
the zoo. Watch a TED talk.
Yeah.
And as you wander around, you're going to bump into those words.
Yeah.
And you're also going to meet new words. You start the process again. Gather information.
Great.
Review. Own it. Get out there.
I agree. Cool. Well, thank you. That was really helpful because vocabulary is in reading. It's almost everything, really. Like grammar, sure, there's some meaning in the grammar, but it's all about vocabulary. Cool. That was very helpful. Thank you, Alex. Okay, now let's talk about how to improve your reading strategies. But before we do that, you should check out e2school.com because Alex has developed this vocabulary building course which is built for PTE and IELTS. So if you're struggling with vocabulary for either of these tests, you can go to e2school.com, sign up for a course called Test Ready, and it will build your vocabulary and test taking strategies. It's really cool and it's cheap as well, which is great, which is really good. Okay, let's go back though. So let's talk about how to improve your reading strategies. So the first task, reading and writing fill in the blanks, is ultimately a test of your vocabulary because it is a test of your word choice. That is, When you click on one of those drop-down answer options and there are 4 words, these words are going to be synonymous. They're going to be synonyms. They'll be pretty similar in meaning, but only one of those words is going to be correct within the context of what you're reading, okay? So they're all plausible, they're all possible, for example. They all work grammatically, but again, only one semantically in terms of its meaning is going to be accurate or correct. So again, the broader your vocabulary is and the deeper it is, that is, the more words you know and how well you know them, is going to result in high scores for this particular task. Cool. So let's have a look at this one here. Here's the text. I'm going to read it out, and then I want you to choose which of those past participles is the correct one. So the last woolly mammoth lived on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean and died out 4,000 years ago within a very short time. An international research team has now reconstructed, revamped, renovated, or regenerated the scenario that could have led to the mammoth's extinction. What are we looking at here? What is the correct word there according to the context? What did they do? Did they reconstruct, revamp, renovate, or regenerate? Again, as we can see, they're not quite synonyms, these words, but they certainly look similar. They all have that prefix re, as in reconstruct, revamp, renovate, or regenerate. Only one is correct. Do you know which one it is? Pop it into the comments below. Let's see if you get it right. The answer is reconstruct. They reconstructed the scenario. They didn't revamp the scenario. They didn't renovate the scenario, and they didn't regenerate the scenario. Those 3 are incorrect semantically. In terms of their meaning, they are wrong. Reconstruct is the correct one. Okay, let's talk about fill in the blanks. As I mentioned, this one tests your vocabulary, but in particular, it's testing your collocation, your awareness of and ability to use natural sounding phrases. What I mean by that is, do you know in English we have these strange sorts of word combinations that in your first language you probably don't have those combinations, and when you hear it in English you think, why do you say take a shower, for example? Take a shower. Why? You're not taking anything, but it's just this strange sort of combination of words that we use to create this very natural sounding phrase, right? This is what this tests, except it's testing more sort of academic ones like accept responsibility, for example. So let's have a closer look at the collocations here. Okay, let's look at this one here. 2 professors have found a something relationship. What's the collocation? Is it strong relationship, make relationship, habits relationship, or a big relationship? Well, we can immediately eliminate make and habits because they don't really work grammatically. And so we're left here with 2 adjectives, okay? We've got the noun here and we've got a spot here for an adjective. Whoopsie, how do I spell adjective? A-D-J, okay? And of course, we know that this is strong relationship. You might be familiar with that particular collocation, a strong relationship. Let's keep going. So they found a strong relationship between students' grades and how much sleep they're getting, what time students go to bed, and the consistency of their sleep. Something also make a something difference. Okay, so here we've got sleep, and it's acting as a type of adjective. So sleep strong, sleep make, sleep habits, sleep big. Let's go with sleep habits, for example. That's a nice collocation. What is your sleeping habit? Also make a something difference. This is an extremely common collocation. Whoops, where are we? We're here. A big difference. A big difference. That's a very common, natural sounding phrase in English. So the answer to that gap there is big. Let's keep reading. It takes several nights in a row of good sleep to, again, make a difference. So here's another collocation here. You make a difference. So you can have a big difference with an adjective, or you can verb make a difference. Anyway, all of these are examples of collocations. These are critical. This is ultimately vocabulary, But instead of learning a single word, what you're doing is learning the word in its context with its partner, with its friend, if you like. There are usually just two of them together. Sometimes they come in groups of 3 or more, but typically 2 words that come together like an adjective and a noun. Anyway, cool. Hopefully that sheds some light on this task. So for reorder paragraph, what you're looking at here, of course, is vocabulary. This one focuses a little bit more on grammar, and especially it focuses on coherence and cohesion. And what I mean by that is your ability to take sentences and to sequence them so the information flows from one to the next in a logical way. That is what a paragraph should be, okay? If you have a paragraph, it's a collection of sentences, but it's just not randomly put together. It's like a little story. It starts with an opening, and then the next sentence follows, which provides some information, etc., and it comes to a little closing. So you've got yourself a little narrative or story. That's what coherence and cohesion mean. It's the way that those sentences are put together and the way that those sentences connect to each other. That's what this task tests for. So you're looking at something like idea 1 connects to idea 2, connects to idea 3, idea 4, and idea 5. And ultimately, this is a transmission of meaning from one sentence to the next to make a coherent and logical paragraph. Cool. If you require any more help with PTE, if you've been failing this test, if you've failed it once, unless you were like super close, please don't go and take this again without doing some good preparation. What you can do at E2 Language is sign up for our Express course, which is valid for 3 months. You can cram it in like a week if you want to, or you can stretch it out over 3 months. It comes with heaps of practice questions, all the methods that we've been talking about, the vocabulary lists that Alex mentioned. It comes with live classes, overviews, lots of stuff there. And you can also just upgrade to any of the other packages, the higher courses, if you like, that come with tutorials, writing and speaking feedback, more live classes, study plan consultations, etc. So do check out that website if you are preparing for PTE and you just want to get it over and done with and finished. Okay, so this is multiple choice, choose multiple answers. And this is, again, a test of your vocabulary, ultimately. But really, strategically, this is testing your ability to identify synonyms and paraphrases. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually do a little multiple choice, choose multiple answers. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to answer these seemingly simple questions about Jack and Jill. And then I'm going to teach you something about the strategy behind this. Okay, let's go through this. You may have thought to yourself, aha, Jack and Jill, I'll do this easily. But what you're going to find out here is a couple of things. One is this is Old English, so some of the words will be unfamiliar to you. But what I want to point out to you is the importance of understanding synonyms and paraphrases. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so let's make sure we read the question prompt. So what happened in the story of Jack and Jill? So Jack walked home slowly. Excuse me. Jack walked home slowly. Okay, we're looking at this sentence here. It says, up Jack got and home did trot. I don't know if you know this in English. Again, this is Old English. So this is a synonym. Well, this is actually not a synonym, it's an antonym. Slowly has different meaning to trot. Trot means to walk quite quickly. So what the answer option says is Jack walked home slowly. What the text says is that he walked home quite quickly. They contradict each other. So you haven't found a synonym here. They haven't said the same thing. In fact, they've used a similar word like slowly and quickly, but they contradict. So I'm not going to choose that one. Next one says Jack and Jill both fell over. Okay, so this says Jack fell down, and this says Jill came tumbling after. Okay, so fell over. So here we have some sort of paraphrase or synonymous language. Falling down, tumbling after, they both fell over. I think that's correct. So I'm going to choose that one there. This one says Dame Dob nursed Jack. This one says here, first of all, you can do a bit of word spotting here to find out where to read in the text, which is good. Dame Dob, and you see Dame Dob. And it says to old Dame Dob who patched his knob, which according to Old English means nursed. So patching especially is the important word here. And we can see from the context that Jack's got a sore head. So Dame Dob nursed him. So yes, I'm going to select that. That's a good one. Jack and Jill ascended a mountain. Okay, what's another word for ascended? Well, up here we've got went up, for example, or climbed. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Ascended, okay, so they ascended, they went up, that's correct. But here we have hill and here we have mountain. These are two different words. They mean different things. I mean, they're related. One's a hill and one's a mountain. They're both natural geological objects, except they didn't go up a mountain, they went up a hill. So I'm not going to choose that one. Hopefully what I'm pointing out to you here though is an understanding of words that mean the same thing or phrases that mean the same thing in which you'll probably select it, and words that are related but mean different things or even contradictory things, in which case you will not select it. Okay, this is what this task is all about. It's all about synonyms and paraphrases. And you identify, look at that answer option, you read it carefully, you read the text, you find the corresponding part of the text. Do they say the same thing in different words, or are they saying something different? That's what you're asking yourself in this task. That's how they construct them. Last one says, Jack and Jill sold a bucket of water. Here it says Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. So a pail of water and a bucket of water are similar. There's synonyms, but selling and fetching are different. They contradict each other. So the answer options here are B and C. That's an interesting little way to teach that. Cool. So multiple choice choose single answer is also about synonyms and paraphrases. Let's do this one again. This time, however, we're not going through the answer options and finding them in the text to find out if they say the same thing or they say something contradictory or different. This time we're going to either read for main idea of that text, you want to understand that entire text, or for this question here, we're going to identify a sort of detail. So let's go through this one together. It says, according to the passage, what is the relationship between Jack and Jill? Okay, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack got, and home did trot as fast as he could caper to old Dame Dob, who patched his knob with vinegar and brown paper. What is the relationship here? Are they siblings? Well, it doesn't say. We can assume that, but it doesn't actually say this in the text anywhere clearly. Okay, it does not say that they are brother and sister. They are neighbors. It doesn't say that. It is unclear. Let's leave that one. They are Dame Dob's children. It doesn't say that. It is platonic. They have a friendship. Well, it doesn't even say that they're friendly, does it? Is it plutonic or platonic? I can't remember the spelling there. Someone correct me. It is definitely unclear. So we want to select that one there. But what this is an example of is an example of reading for a specific detail. And this is a good example of not selecting an answer where it's ambiguous. It has to be clearly written in the text, and you don't want to use any of your personal information or knowledge, rather, about this text here. I think, in fact, they are brother and sister from the old story, but in the text, it doesn't say, so we choose this one here. Cool. Now that we've done that, thank you for sticking with me. That's really good of you. Let's look at time management. So these are the tasks that you'll see: reading and writing, fill in the blanks, multiple choice, choose multiple answers, reorder paragraphs, fill in the blanks, and multiple choice, single answer. On test A, you're going to get 5 or 6 reading and writing, fill in the blanks. And you should spend about 2 or 3 minutes on each. As we saw, the text lengths are quite long. These ones take quite a bit of time, okay? Same as multiple choice, choose multiple answers. You'll get 2 or 3 on test A. They require about 2 or 3 minutes each. And just remember, in PT reading, you are managing your own time. That's why I'm talking to you about this. These are not individually timed tasks. Reorder paragraphs, you get 2 or 3. These should only take you about 1 or 2 minutes. They're not long. The sentences within the paragraph are not long. Fill in the blanks, you get 4 or 5. These can be done in about 45 seconds. These have extremely short text. I think they're 80 words. And remember, you're just dragging a word into the gap to make a collocation. So really, this one you should not be spending too much time on. This one should be done rapidly. And with this one here, you'll know pretty much immediately if you know the answer or not. If you know that collocation, like strong relationship that we saw before, or big difference, cool, you drag, you drop it, you got it. If you don't know, there's no point sitting there thinking, I don't know. Just guess and move on to save time for the other tasks. And then you've got multiple choice, choose a single answer, of which you'll get 2 or 3 on test day, and you should spend 1 or a couple of minutes on each of these. Cool. For lots of practice questions and live classes for free, check out e2language.com. Thanks very much for coming along. I hope that was helpful. Remember to subscribe to this channel. My name is Jay. I'll see you guys soon.